October 28th, 2023, I went to see the Five Nights at Freddy's movie with my best friend. And a certain person's cameo had just played on screen. They were a waiter at a diner. And I could not contain my excitement. I just erupted and went, oh, 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 it's him! It's him! Yes!
Welcome to Sparky's. How about I set you both up with some appetizers, huh?
We won't be eating here today.
Well, that's no fun. You do realize that lunch is the most important meal of the day.
I thought it was breakfast.
Well, some people say that, but hey, it's just a theory.
And yeah, I couldn't contain my excitement. And then the rest of the theater that, was initially just gasping had to follow my energy and sort of clap alongside me. And who is this individual, you might ask? Who was it that could elicit such a response from me? Well, it was none other than Matthew Patrick, the original game theorist, and he, as you've more than likely heard, had announced his, I guess, retirement is the only word to call it, I suppose, but yeah, and he had a profound impact on me. I was also in theater. Um, you know, for me specifically, it was high school. For him, it was probably much longer of a time. And he did college things, and then he went to audition for shows. I haven't made it that far, but he has. He knows what it's like to be a polite male in theater, and I can kind of relate to that. And part of the way he carries himself kind of inspires me with his jokes and gestures and things. And I can't say I know every reference and everything that he likes and whatever, and that I'm a carbon copy, but or that I'm his number one fan. But I, he feeds into my energy and inspires me, and I take from him certainly. And um, his announcement hit me very hard, particularly because just because he's just amazing. And there's his videos that are really well scripted, really well edited, really well, and he has a whole team that helps him. And there's not a lot of YouTubers that I can name that I know for a fact does meeting after meeting after meeting, like whole PDFs of the style theory thumbnail to make sure which one is correct, like hundreds, like of different designs, and waits like a year or two before launching the channel, and is very meticulous about research. And people can just complain and just easily write out a quick comment, but the hours of effort behind any given project is very evident. And even with that mountains of effort and that well-oiled machine that is this process, there is still this level of heart, and a heart that, not that anyone else cannot bring their own heart and presence to it, but there's a special kind of sincerity that comes from matpat, or Matthew Patrick specifically, that will never be replicated. And not just within the game theorists, but within the larger YouTube community as a whole. Specifically because, you know, he takes criticism very well. I remember, he did a live stream with Stephanie where he combated specific things that were said about him. Like, oh, there's a Reddit AMA where he avoided a question like, why are you such a sellout? And he's like, no, I didn't avoid that particular question. I guess they just didn't show it to me, or I guess it just didn't come up. Whoever was curating the questions in the event that I went to. Um, but yeah, he is, the way he approaches it, people give him flack for one reason or the other, but, being a big YouTuber and such, but he takes that and he has a discussion about it, and he addresses it, and he is perfectly comfortable with that. And, you know, not only that, but he serves as a positive example for the community. Those $1 million hour long, hours upon hours St. Jude, celebration events that he holds, in which he's raising all this money. And I'm surprised I haven't done that yet. I'm going to do that when I get off, but when I get off work. I'm doing this on a break, but you know, there's to raise that much money for such a great cause, and that doesn't necessarily absolve him of any wrongdoing or anything, but um, assuming he did do any wrongdoing, because let's face it, it's MatPat. But yeah, like, and he addresses issues within YouTube as a whole. There's a video where he gets to interview Susan Wojcicki, you know, CEO of YouTube. I think she stepped down. I haven't really been keeping up with that, but back when she was, you know, running things, and I think, and forgive me if this is completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure the first question he asked, he like shook her hand. It's like, oh, nice to meet you, blah blah blah. You know, heard about you. You know, sits down. Do you think that gamers are second class citizens on the platform? It's like, whoa, man wasted no time, pulling no punches, gloves off. Like, he's like, people are counting on me, and people are expecting answers and results. So as soon as he gets up there, immediately he knows exactly what to ask. And I'm like, damn, people will like realize, people forget just how much of a protector and a father he can be, you know? Like he really does not hesitate to ask the hard hitting questions. You know, like games do they cause violence? And I assume no, that's BS. That's just news made up. But he tackled the question regardless of what his biases were, and you know that's you know that's to be said about his character. And you know, for him to let other creators like Gaijin Goomba and you know Drake and such make series on his channel in Austin back when that was a thing in Hey Science, um, and then for him to encourage and provide tools and information and consultations to other creators and try to equip them with the knowledge and try to equip them with the support and to because you know obviously he's a very good data analyst and is a very smart meticulous person and understands the platform extremely well and has maximized that pretty well, but I'm more so impressed by again the way he leads with such heart and such character, and a lot of the team matches that and what he and Stephanie are looking for, and they try to cultivate that environment amongst all of them. But I think it started with matpat, and I think that sincerity and that character, you're never gonna recreate that. That's just for him to shed those tears during his video, and for him to talk to us like he is a relative. And I those hours I spent, you know, GT Live and F World, you know, again, Emily's Away, Stanley Parable, you know, spooky scary game Fridays and all that stuff, and Mario Maker and all that, for me to, you know, put that on for comfort and, you know, to procrastinate and you know, just have that presence, that comforting presence, you know. This is really, really parasocial for me to say, but and I realized that this video is never ever gonna reach him. It's never, you know, he has like on the channel they have like what, like over 18 million last I checked, and I'm assuming it's the same subscribers subscribing to the other channels mostly, right? So millions upon millions, like practically a city unto itself. So the chances that this is ever gonna reach him, impossible, right? But maybe I just needed to say it. Maybe I just needed a sense of closure, you know, because I don't mean to make him feel old, but childhood, adolescence, and now very early, just beginning adulthood, he had, whether I had realized it or not at the time, or whether he realized it, he, you know, he inspired me to be a better person and a more lively entertainer and a more kind, gentle, thoughtful presence, and I can't thank him enough for that, you know. And again, very parasocial for me to say I've never met the guy a day in my life. I hope to. I hope to meet him at some point. But I love you, Matt Pat. I love you, Matthew Patrick. And I don't think I can express that well enough. I already did a take of this video and I'm doing it again, and I had to stop and press record over and over again because I could try to script it, but I don't want it to be robotic, you know? And I don't really have a good setup. obviously. I'm in my car here, you know. But yeah, I love you, matpat, and I will never not be inspired by you. And yeah, hope to see you around in some capacity. And I I really can't thank you enough for everything that you've done for me and the rest of this community. And again, very rarely will we ever see someone who has that Steve from Blue's Clues, Fred Rogers kind of impact on this platform, and not just raise awareness of certain things, not just say, hey, be good guys, but actually set that example moving forward and actually tackle all these things beautifully. Like, the news misrepresenting the Try Guy situation, or the MCMs ripping people off, or, again, YouTube tackling gamers and their exposure and this and that. Like, he lifts the community up, and he works tirelessly, and he delivers, and he sets a certain standard. Um, and yeah, he's just an amazing, wonderful person who makes everyone feel like, he is specifically trying to educate and uplift and empower them, and not just, a wave of numbers. And that is incredibly special. And, for him to share that he had been struggling job after job, working his butt off, trying to make a secure living, and then finally finding it with the channel. It's inspiring. And yeah, I'm sorry, I've lost all tempo or structure with this towards the end, but there's really no other way for me to say this, but I love you, matpat. Thanks for everything. I look forward to the final theories. Just watch the food theory one, and I look forward to, yeah, the Big Bang, the finale. Yeah. But hey, that's just a theory. Hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching.